Number 20, it says two vectors, x1 equals 20 meters in the x direction. So I'm writing this down as I read it. It says for the two vectors x sub 1 equals 20. And I gotta use a different color marker because you guys can't see. And x sub 2 is equal to 15. Compute and show graphically. All right, so I need, give me another piece of that graph paper, will you? So it's, what we have is we have x sub 1 that's 20, and I'm just going to represent that by like 2 lines. So that's x1, which is equal to 20 meters. Actually, you know what? No, let's write the whole thing out. So x hat x1 is equal to 20 meters and x2 is equal to 15 meters. And they want us to show this graphically. Okay? And these are both x hats unit vectors, so they're only in the x direction. So now that I've got that written down, let's take a look-see at the and so I have 2 of these, and I'll choose, let's choose purple and blue. Can you guys see the orange okay?
Yep.
So my purple vector is 20 units or 20 meters times x hat. So now what that means is if I start here and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is x sub 1. That's a vector. And so what I want to do is they want me to show and prove x sub 1 plus x sub 2. Now what do we think that those should be if we add the sum of those two? Yeah, 35, right? In the x direction. So this is 20 units. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do x2, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15 is this little guy there. So that will be 15. Now if you add all those up, what would you expect that to equal?
35.
35, right? I'm not going to count 35. I mean, it's fairly clear that this is equal to 35. Okay? Now the other thing they wanted me to write is they wanted me to do x1 minus x2. So my x1 is going to be the same, except I'm going to draw it a little bit further back. Yeah, because it says draw it graphically, show it graphically. Now, what do I do different though for x sub 2?
You take it off of the x sub 1.
Yeah, and what do we expect the answer to be?
5 meters.
So this one is I'm just going to come here, and it's hard to see because I drew it right over the top of the other one, but where I'm left at, if I go tip to tail, is just this stuff right here, right? If I go tip to tail here, this is the sum of those, which is just 5 units, okay? So this is equal to 5 meters x hat. Does that make sense? Do you guys see that? So this is the math part. Graphically, it should line up. Now you might say, well, why, that's kind of dumb. Well, the reason that we're doing that is at some point you'll be expected to do that with the x and y components. Okay? So any questions before we move on to the next one? Does that make sense? Now the negative is the same as the positive vector, but I reverse the direction. So if I'm going to the right as positive, negative is the same magnitude, but it's like I flipped this. It's like I took it and I flipped it and set it right here. Does that make sense?